Hello and welcome to the finals for Grand Prix Xi'an. Today we have JustNobody on Blue Black Heart Collection versus cftsoc on Grixis Grandma Dragontwin. So these two players have already played during the skirmish, or like not skirmish, sorry, during the Swiss round finals of this GP, and JustNobody took that match 2-0 versus cftsoc. How do you think this one will play out, Pip?
So I'm not 100% sure on paper who's favored. Just because cftsoc made some huge punts last time they played in both the games that really cost him. I think the advantages JustNobody has is that his deck is a significantly better interactive deck.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it goes better into the late game with the insane card advantage that is Selene plus Union Rail Strikebreaker plus Villainy plus Deadly Manipulation. Like, you can't beat that deck going late enough. cftsoc has a good time right in the mid game where his deck power spikes and he has the ability to either get the prison lock going or just combo out. So I think those are the times that we should be most aware and most scared of that deck.
Yeah, I think JustNobody's best tools here are like his Villainy, because with Villainy it gives him a clock. It gives him a way to like force cftsoc to start like digging deep on life for like bouncing with Suzume, or just lose all of his board presence, and that generally makes it so that JustNobody basically doubles up on every single piece of interaction that he has. So, in the sense of like all of his cantrips and removal turns into like extra removal.
Yeah, I think one of the strengths of Villainy type decks is the fact that Villainy as a card advantage engine / answer engine allows you to just grind most people into the dust. Now, it's not everyone. You still can lose to Artie Study type decks, but it gets you pretty far.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's Dead Man Cast.
Yeah, I was actually wondering if that would be a Selene instead, because having Strikebreaker and Selene out as like a if it was Strikebreaker and cantrip, that would be a terrible sign for cftsoc. But this is more manageable. It's still undesirable, but it's more manageable.
So the important thing to remember is JustNobody only runs 2 Selene. It's not super likely he sees them early, and he doesn't want to drop them when he's only at 2 lands, and he doesn't have a bunch of Strikebreaker tokens open, just because then you just really neuter most of your progress. The point where Selene gets scary is once you have multiple Strikebreakers, or you have like 4 or 5 lands, or a bunch of Strikebreaker tokens already made, because you can take an established board state and just start getting value out of it.
Treat every once you have Strikebreaker and Selene out, even if you don't have a token, every spell after that just grants you card draw. And then at a certain point, you can kind of just... can you sacrifice Selene herself? I'm not certain, actually.
Yeah, I mean, eventually it works, but it means you don't have pressure. And I think in this game, you really want a bunch of pressure, which Imperial Artisan on cftsoc side is doing a pretty good job of holding off on. Just because, it's a 1-3. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just everything other than reprising blocks really well in this matchup. Also, cftsoc not playing anything, which tells me he either has Fire Shaper or
he could have an Unraveling.
Yeah, Unraveling. I think if he had Fire Shaper, he probably would have copied the Bargain Trigger. Oh, and so what is this? End step. Oh no, this is JN's turn. They're just getting in some good card flow with these Dark Bargains. Thankfully, they're the one cantrip that JN can't reuse with Dead Man. So JN also losing like a bunch of life to these Dead Mans, plus now this Pain Land. So
he can afford to spend a lot of life. cftsoc doesn't have very good ways of pressuring his life total, especially in the early games. Usually when cftsoc kills you, you're going from most of your life to none of your life.
Mm-hmm. Or like cftsoc does have some very strong lines with reprising Bard into Kinken, but it appears right now he's picked up on a slower hand. And,
oh boy.
And cftsoc made a blunder there. Yeah.
Well, now it's going to get a little bit complicated.
How do you... Is this a judge call? How does this work?
I think it will be.
cftsoc, whatever, just thought sees me. I don't know what he means. There's a second there's a second unraveling off the board.
Oh God. That makes it.
That's important information. That's important.
This is a very different call.
Yeah, I think at this point you take.
I think, by the way, from a judge perspective, what I would do there is just have cftsoc pick up the hand. He has priority. Mm-hmm. And JustNobody, he can cast any spell, and then after he casts a spell, then JustNobody gets the chance. So I assume this is going to be land lockdown. cftsoc can then untap, scry and land lockdown again.
Oh, draw mode. Interesting. I guess cftsoc's logic is that he can landlock on his turn if he doesn't draw into anything else that he wants to do. Because it doesn't like stack up, does it? It won't be like 2 extra turns.
No, well, it does.
It does?
I'm pretty sure it skips their next untap step, right? Yeah. Oh no, it's the lands don't untap. You're right. That wouldn't stack up. Mm-hmm. So it does make more sense to scry, and then on your turn, scry and skip. Mm-hmm. But I guess you still take 4 damage there. But I think you just need to use your life as a resource. Mm-hmm.
Also, it would really only be 3 damage, because unless Jayan would like to trade for the Strikebreaker, which he could do because he has Dead Man, but I don't think that Jayan would want to do that for the extra 1 damage unless he's sure that he has a way to continue that pressure on cftsoc.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I forgot about the blocker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Suzume and Imperial Artisan do a surprisingly good job of having bodies here. cftsoc has a full hand. We know that like most of that is lands. Not an ideal situation for a deck which is so tempo/low to the ground. And even thinking about the land drop means that there's something going on here. I wonder what could it be. Is cftsoc considering getting, like, what mana could cftsoc be considering?
Yeah, okay, goes for lockdown.
It doesn't matter because he's unraveling out. Though I guess one thing that cftsoc could be considering regarding playing the fetch land or not is if he got a Fire Shaper off of that first unraveling, he could be thinking about whether or not to hold up his fetch land so that he has a way to actually have a determinist, like a way to break the Fire Shaper loop. Or
I mean, if he has the loop, like if he has the Ken plus Fire Shaper, but no Suzume or fetch land.
Yeah. And so it was a choice of, do I try to thin my deck slightly, or do I keep this and just hope to draw? That's the one reason I could think that he would like be thinking about his land drop in a situation where the colors don't matter as much. Okay, so Jayan is still tapped down here. Appears to be thinking. Probably just on whether or not to attack.
I think probably just hoping that he doesn't die while he has shields down, because I think if he gets to untap, he'll probably be fine.
Yeah, but if cftsoc has the combo next turn, I mean, actually no, he doesn't even. cftsoc does not have the mana for that. But if cftsoc could drop another land and another unraveling and like 1 combo piece, and that would be a problem. But no, he no longer has the mana for that because he's going Seek Prophecy right now.
He also, his combo pieces aren't safe on the field. They're also not safe in his hand, especially when Deadly Manipulation is in play and there's a Stolen Secrets in the yard.
What does Jayan have again that could actually be a problem here? Memento Mori doesn't really do much because he can just Imperial Artisan. Duress and Stolen Secrets are the real worry because the Duress doesn't hit. And if
Stolen Secrets is currently in the yard also. Like,
Stolen
could
Secrets
cast.
Dead Man. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
And so for removal, there's really only Villainy. And Villainy basically ends the game. Honestly. Wait, what counter does... Yeah, Jane isn't running any counter magic other than Selene. Oh yeah, for saying, Cacique Prophecy is a reveal, and it was Monument Adept Suzume.
Oh, taking the Suzume in that case makes it... No, actually, I think that's reasonable to assume that... I think it would be unreasonable to assume that he has Adept in hand just because he passed it up, because Suzume is way more valuable on her own.
Yeah, and I think it could just be that he has... yeah, and like Suzume is just good because now he could Suzume, bounce Impartisan, and then try to oh, that's Surprising Bard. But what I was gonna say is, it could be that he's like, okay, I'm willing to pitch Fire Shaper because I have Darklands Charm, and I can dig for Darklands Charm with my Impartisan. But oh, this is the Unraveling lock.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so...
And there's already a Suzume in hand, so this is it.
So JN...
JustNobody can break this by drawing and playing lands over a sufficient amount of time. Technically.
Yeah, but that would be so hard. Like, what would you do?
It's not easy. It's not good. JN always plays to his outs, but like in games like this, I would just scoop.
Mm-hmm. Or I guess land into actually land into anything, or two lands and a Stolen Secret, or a land, or sorry, two lands, or a land and Stolen Secrets does get him out of this. Assuming that cftsoc is going to keep doing... Yeah, because cftsoc has to keep doing this on his turn.
No, he doesn't. He can bounce it and replay the Bard. Oh. And then make sure the Bard is safe from hand attack.
Oh yeah, okay, fair, good point.
Plus Jan needs 2 lands or to have drawn the relevant piece. Mm-hmm. Like, if he has Stolen Secrets in hand, then plays land, it'll be fine.
Honestly, I'm wondering why cftsoc doesn't just start attacking. Because cftsoc going to be spending a life each turn, so he should try to start pressuring in.
He can't really attack with anything, because anything he swings in, it just gets... It trades with 1 token.
Yeah, but then it doesn't trade because Impartisan has 3 toughness, so it'll kill the token.
You triple block.
Yeah, if he triple blocks, then next turn you can start swinging with Suzume, and he only has what do you call
he could still but he can still triple block, and you cannot afford to lose Suzume.
Oh yeah, he can still triple. No, sorry,
Monument is probably a lock.
Yeah, sorry, I was missing the. For some reason, I thought triple blocking would also kill all 3 of the tokens. Forgive me. I am very tired. Okay, Darklands Charm, probably getting back Fire Shaper, and then he can just go off.
No, it looks like he... I mean, still can't go off unless he has the King Ken. But he's just using it as a strategic planning, just digging towards more stuff. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, even if cftsoc ends the Bard loop at some point soon, he's drawn so many cards and hit so many land drops. He's in a really good spot.
Yeah, the only potential thing is that he's down to 13 life, and Suzume's one drawback is constant life deduction, so he needs to hit a win con sometime soon.
Although okay, so he draws 1 for turn, and then every Suzume loop, he scries 2 and draws a card. So he's digging 4 cards deep per turn.
Yeah, which
he'll hit a win con faster.
Which should hopefully reasonably quickly net him into what? Wait, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Is this on Jan?
He's drawing a free. This is on Jan's end step using Monument.
Okay, I was confused because Jan isn't doing anything, so I thought it was CFTSoc's turn.
Nope, it's always CFTSoc's turn. I'm trying to remember when the last GP was that CFTSoc found a deck, played a deck, top /1 with the deck, that we haven't then immediately had to nerf or ban the deck that CFTSoc won with. He's very good at finding the broken things worth doing in the format.
Just when it's like, hey, it's my turn. You can't seek prophecy on my turn. But then but nope. But I would say quote-unquote fair mid-range, otherwise known as revert combo, did not get as far as I know, didn't get its piece back until Map Right. So it wasn't an immediate ban.
Yep, and it never won a GP to my knowledge.
I don't think so either. But
before that, there was Mystic Meddling, which got banned. Savcon 8-1 nerf, which completely changed the way the deck worked. Also,
didn't Savcon also just get banned?
Savcon got banned later, but that was because of JN, not because of CFT.
Okay.
The change that led to Savcon getting banned down the line was actually because CFT figured out a combo, which was... So Savcon's original text was the non-ferocious mode was tutor for any number of creatures with total power 4 or less, and put them into your hand. And then the combo mode, the ferocious mode, was put them onto the battlefield instead. And so the original combo was tutor up the things that gain you a bunch of life and immediately kill your opponent via draining them life.
Profit. Yeah.
CFTSoc figured out, hey, what if I just put all those in my hand, overdraw, move to end step, discard those cards, untap, manifest memories, kill you.
So you didn't even need to turn on Ferocious, which is a big thing with the previous deck.
Yeah, that was a hurdle that you had to get over. Which, it was easy, but you had to do it.
Yep.
King can.
And he has Monument.
Hold priority.
So this is probably...
Holding priority here is interesting.
But yeah, both of these players are... I think we can safely say that they're like the biggest brewers in the format, and that's not to say no one else is brewing. It's just to say that these are the players most known players coming out with weird or interesting brews and doing well with them.
I think they are definitely the players that find tech that is incredibly powerful and then usually manage to keep it a secret until the GP. We definitely have players who find really powerful brews. I would point to Monger's breaking of lane line alignment field. And we have people who's put a lot of time into iterating decks. But one of the reasons Jan and CFTSoc decks usually take the format by force is they find something broken and, come at an unexpected angle. And they're not showing off their brews.
Anyways, that was CFTSoc winning game 1. Before we move to sideboards, I will say, though, I think what makes these players stand out is that Inkle Touch was a really strong brew on Monger's part, but it's also, I think, the first big brew he's done. I remember before that he was playing stuff like Poise, like he had like one GP where he had like the Poisonous deck and other stuff like that. While CFTSoc and JN, I feel like you said, CFTSoc decks have been banned multiple times, but they keep coming out with new innovations or new decks which continue to quote-unquote break the meta.
Yeah, I think... So, okay, one thing I would point towards here is both these decks are incredibly well made, but both of them also are heavily building on other people's successes, and that's one of the things that makes really good innovations, when people take other people's decks and tweak them. CFTSoc's deck is very similar to 2 decks that other people made. It's similar to the Dragontwin combo deck that Fifth made, which I built a blue-red Phoenix version that ran Dragontwin and gave it to CFTSoc at one point, which I think he did very well in that GP. And then it's also Fifth's Grixis Ninjas deck. And there's some obvious, like, the reprising bard unraveling loop is something that cftsoc pioneered here. And the fusing all these different shells together is something cftsoc innovated.
Yeah,
but
also like JN's Heart Collection is like it's like a side grade / upgrade of Monger's UB villainy. So yes, I guess that.
Yeah, it's Jan added Celine and Through the Ashen Gate as new cards to that deck.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
it, actually.
Numbers, but yeah, I think in general those are the two
options.
But anyways, just quickly, I guess we can continue this line of discussion once the game starts. But then let's look at the sideboards here and then see what we think the players will be siding. Starting with JN, I think Seal the Tomb.
So Onyx Ritualist is really good here.
Really,
I would 100% want to be on that. I feel like Seal the Tomb has to be good. cftsoc mills a bunch.
Yeah,
and being able to then just
Mind Rip might come in as instant speed
interaction. Wither, I would be a little bit dubious about. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's better than, like, you have to think about what's coming out. So maybe Memento Mori is coming out in favor of the Withers.
I think Memento Mori stays in for the ability to exile Graveyard, so the ability to take out Unraveling.
I feel like you want the Seal of Tombs for that role. And Seal of Tombs and Memento Mori fight.
Fair, but I also think just like for the versatility
and this is
that Memento
such a low
might edge it out in that situation. I'm not certain.
It's such a low to the ground matchup where that one mana can actually make a pretty huge difference. Slash
is important.
Memento Mori's sack mode is actually like not very strong against cftsoc. It's not bad, it's just not very strong. On cftsoc's end, I think I definitely would want to see the negates. I think I would want to see either the Demolitionist Advisors or the Rogar's Frenzy.
Yeah, I think both of those. I think last time I remember that he didn't bring in Demo, but did bring in Rogar's and did bring in a Chigao. I don't remember why, but I do remember that he did bring in Chigao.
I think Chigao feels a little bit more dubious to me just because Jan is going to be leveraging some form of graveyard hate because you have so many powerful graveyard. You have a powerful graveyard synergy, and you mill a lot. I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same about Chico, and I'm hoping that cftsoc, if he does bring anything in, does bring in the Divisors instead, but we'll have to see. Is this, just to clarify, is this 2 out of 3 still, or will this be 3 out of 5 for being a finals?
I believe it's still 2 out of 3.
Okay, and with no double and with
past
no double
GP
limit,
finals have been like that.
This means that cftsoc is actually 1 game away from making a huge comeback through the entire single elim bracket and winning the tournament.
Having gone a valiant 3-0, then losing to the Grand Prix person, the current person on top.
Yeah.
I think anyone rooting for cftsoc as an underdog is misunderstanding how this tournament is going.
Yeah. Okay. And cftsoc plays Seek Prophecy and then passes. Juras from JN. Yeah, I don't.
Well, we're about to see what the cards in hand are. Alright, put in the negates like I expected.
This is a very powerful hand, and I think taking Monument might be the right
situation. You absolutely snap pick Monument here. And just try to hope to choke CFT on mana.
Yeah, because this hand just has so much gas.
And yeah, I mean, the things you can hit are you can take the Monkey Shines or the Negate or the Monument.
Yeah, I think Monkey Shines is not worth taking, so to have
exactly.
Yeah.
Negate or the Monument, and there's no reason to take Negate over taking Monument and just making CFT now have to play way slower.
Is that taking Negate just straight up doesn't matter because then cftsoc just plays a Bard and then just can keep you just have Negate on your Bard. Despite or maybe because of cftsoc having two bards in hand, I guess Jayan is just digging real deep and is willing to spend life to dig deep to find answers. Because I think cftsoc having two bards does surprisingly present a reasonable clock versus Jayan. So
yeah, I'll be curious to see how the game continues to play out.
okay, thinking. That's interesting. That means he must have. Okay, I guess no. Sorry, it's between reprising and
Imperial Artisan.
Imperial Artisan.
Or holding up mana for negate.
Mm-hmm.
Those are like some solid 3 options.
Reprising Bard. Okay, so I guess Darkland's Charm was something that was milled earlier from the Seek Prophecy. Yeah, Jayan untaps into Villainy here. That will make cftsoc very sad.
It's not the immediate end of the world, but it definitely puts you in a sad position. The one thing that's kind of nice about
it makes cftsoc think like, oh, if only I'd been less greedy and held up the mana for negate. But you can never know.
Yeah, and especially if you don't have, like, this is a better line if you don't have a land drop for next turn, or you don't have something in speed. Just because sitting there waiting for your opponent to do something so you can hit them with a negate is just kind of a losing position, especially because we mentioned Jayan wins if this game goes long enough.
Mm-hmm. So that means no Villainy this turn. Gonna Oracle's Vision instead. And Oracle's Vision.
The other thing that's nice about Darkland's Charm is if it kills if Reprising Bard gets killed, Darkland's Charm can pick it back up.
Mm-hmm.
cftsoc, the next card would have been a Monument, which would have been nice, but milling the King Ken isn't great.
Yeah, milling the Monkey Shine is the only good thing there. That could have been, again, the symmetry could have been deadly there, because
you don't want to mill him past an Unraveling.
Yeah.
Unless JustNobody's holding up a Seal of Jim.
That's entirely possible. You're right.
And JustNobody also losing half his Selines in a single mill.
Yeah, I don't think at this point he super wants a Selene, but that's also not great. And I guess milling 2 lands is fine, unless Jayan is stuck on these 2 lands, in which case that is a problem. Okay, Duress. I guess hoping to take the negate, but that doesn't sound like a good idea. Or I guess the Monkey Shines, but also neither of these feel like good options. I guess negate maybe because then he doesn't have it in hand, so he can't just keep attacking with Bard.
Yeah, it's definitely taking the negate is correct.
Yeah. Oh, and playing it flooding depths. Okay, so he does not have seal. And I guess Jayan, that's also a statement by Jayan saying that I'm not willing to, like, I'm at a point where, like, there's enough pressure on my life that I'm not willing to pay 2 life for a bluff.
Yeah, I think in general bluffing is very overstated, especially in matchups like this, which if cftsoc has boarded into burn, like, there's a bunch of Goblin Pikers in the form of Reprising Bard running around. You can't afford for him to, like, mill past a burn spell and then play land, Reprising Bard, put a burn spell underneath. Like, giving up a 2 life there for the sake of pretending to have a seal can just get you killed.
Mm-hmm.
It's only worth bluffing if your opponent can't afford to call the bluff, basically.
Okay, so Seek revealing Imperial Artisan, Wayfarer's Shrine, and Unending. I guess cftsoc could be thinking getting another land, but I don't know.
I would probably grab another land, and then the question is, which of the lands is better?
I think Wayfarer's Shrine, maybe, but I'm not certain.
Well, let's see.
Because we know he has Swamp in hand, right? Actually, wait, if he has...
Oh, did we see that?
Yeah, we saw he has Swamp in hand. I guess
he does have Swamp in hand.
I guess if he has Swamp in hand, maybe he doesn't want Wayfarer's Shrine, because that's not the card, because he already has...
I think you do want to hit 4 lands, though.
Yeah. Okay, so he's playing... So, we don't know what he took, fortunately. But wait, how many swamps does he have? He only has 1 swamp, so I guess might not have taken the Wayfarers if this kind of fixing is what he wanted. Playing out the Imp Artisan.
He also could have taken the Wayfarers so he has a shuffle effect for the Imperial Artisan.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Yep, he
And
took the
JN has
Wayfarers.
to, because,
Alright,
like I
so
said, Brainstorm plays best with fetch lands when you can shuffle away your bad cards.
a very important question.
Okay, cracking the fetch land. I'm assuming. Oh, this is not a pain land. It's just gonna get another Flood Morass here. Yeah, Jay does have a reasonable number of cards in hand. It's just the question is, can he do anything with any of them?
Also, if just nobody has Villainy and Through the Ashen Gate, things get dicey here.
Well, for the first cast of Through the Ashen Gate, Jane does need 1 black mana. So Jane would need a land and
land, Villainy, Ashen Gate.
And that's not happening. Another Oracle's Vision crushes that dream. And again,
he called cftsoc bluff of cftsoc hoping to float a card on top that he would then be able to draw. Yep, Mel's past the Unraveling.
Oh.
Smart call.
But Unraveling in Grave is not very bad either.
Just nobody did board and seal the tombs. I feel vindicated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're a permanent. You're destroyed. And then, okay, tapping out 2 for Selene.
It's not really tapping out. That means just nobody has 4/4 spikes available to him.
I guess that's true. But also with this board presence, does cftsoc really care about casting spells? cftsoc can kind of just keep attacking and he wins, so I don't think cftsoc cares too much about that.
cftsoc doesn't have a very quick clock right now.
Fair. It's effectively a 5-turn clock, assuming no blocks, but Selene can kill Reprising here. I think you just swing out with everything, right?
Depends what's in your hand, probably. I definitely think you start with that.
This also puts Jan in a weird position, which, what is he gonna okay, he's gonna cast something next turn, but what is he gonna sacrifice? He literally only has lands and Selene herself. Is Jan just hoping to use this as a 1-turn, I have a bunch of 4 spikes, and then next turn just play a thing, sack Selene herself? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. Playing out Selene before you have the engine online does feel weird. When you only have 3 lands.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I guess it's just I can cantrip, whatever.
No biggie.
They're not counter-worthy, but they also give cftsoc just more incremental value. Probably just go stand here. I can't see what else. Oh, no, tapping for Fire Shaper or another Reprising. Probably another Reprising because we know he has it in hand. Yeah.
He's just letting it get countered.
Mm-hmm. Which makes me wonder what else, because cftsoc only has 3 other cards in hand. Okay, so it's going to get countered, but then JN also loses half of his graveyard in the process. Okay, so now we get the chance to see what JN was thinking with the Selene. Maybe just a wave of DK for 3 here, and then sack Selene and draw a card. Would that even make sense? That would be
That doesn't
stabilization.
That doesn't feel fantastic, but it also doesn't feel like the worst.
Mm-hmm. Like, what can JN do here? Tap out for villainy on God? Yeah, okay. What are you sacking, though? A land?
Sacking Selene. Alright, so it was just Selene is a 1-turn cantrip plus counter your most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, when you think about it, it's a pretty reasonable card to run.
Mm-hmm.
Just feels wrong.
And villainy puts JN significantly back into the game here. So with 5 cards in hand, oh no, doesn't have, or maybe does have the 1 mana thing, but it is through the Ashen Gate. So JN's holding it up. Or it could be Seal the Tomb, and JN is also still holding that up.
Both those feel really good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Monument is a killer, though.
It's a good draw.
Yeah, it basically means that if JN kills Reprising Bard, he can just Darklands Charm immediately, Monument it back into play, back in business. Okay. Through the Ashen Gate.
Through the Ashen Gate. Woo, what up?
Shock Bard. Gonna flash it back? I don't think so right now.
Doesn't need to. Not on a run too.
I don't know why you would do that in response, but okay. I guess just because it's before attackers. Darkness Charm is probably going to get it back anyways.
Also stops JN. So once it resolves, JN then needs to do that either in response to cftsoc activating it, or in response to him casting it in the first place. Because once the Monument ability resolves, a Suzume could come down. And then once Suzume is on the field, things get trickier.
Good point, good point. So what does cftsoc have in Grave that you'd potentially use with Reprising? Because if he has enough of a Rattlesnake card, he could just be like, okay, sure, you have Through the Ashen Gate. You could definitely kill my bard right now. But I have Unraveling, so you don't want to kill my bard right now. You can kill it on your turn, but you can't kill it right now.
Yeah, just make him unable to afford to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Get that 1 point of free chip damage in. Although, that feels very pointless, as life is about to start to get gained at a very rapid rate for JustNobody.
Can't do that. Monument makes creatures cost 1 more.
It's not casting the creature, it's an activated ability.
Oh, Deception.
Deception? That is the first time literally I've ever seen that happen.
Yeah, I completely forgot that she had the Deception text. I was like, what is going on? That's the awareness on cftsoc right there.
I actually very recently was thinking, why does she even have Deception? Why can we take that text away? I've never seen that text used.
And it's suddenly relevant. Okay, tapping 2 for Dead Man. Okay. Oh, shock cftsoc. Is cftsoc gonna flash and Fire Shaper Adept in response to this? He's done it before.
That doesn't feel great because they're still. Well, I mean, it's fine. It's a net nothing.
Yeah, it feels like it just doesn't feel as impactful as like Flash and Reprising Bard with like Unraveling on it and then just win the game.
Yeah, it really doesn't feel as good as win the game. I agree with that.
Yeah, homeboy. Just let Jayan tap out.
Alright, once that resolves, there's now a reprising bard on the field. Bard trigger.
Oh, Nick. I don't know if I agree with this. Unraveling isn't cftSoc's graveyard.
Yeah, but you don't want to do that because if you target Unraveling in response to the trigger, Jan can exile the through the Ashen Gate at instant speed and kill the bard, and your Unraveling ends up in the abyss.
Okay, so cftSoc is like, I'm fine with negate ending up in the abyss. Oh, seal the tomb on negate.
No, I would guess on Unraveling.
Oh,
yep.
On Unraveling, shock. Oh, that's so good.
And then you bounce the bard with Suzume because you don't want it to die to the negate or die to the shock. Yeah, pays the 1 life.
But taking out all cftSoc's Unraveling is so strong. Like, yep,
this is why you boarded in for this matchup.
We haven't seen any burn from cftSoc yet. He needs something to close out this game before Villainy can like just turn into a runaway.
Oh yeah, and can still flash back through the Ashen Gate. So this is gonna kill the bard because cftSoc has already named bard was Suzume.
So then Jayan gains 4 life here, and cftSoc takes 2.
Jan is only going to gain 2 life here because the other shock.
Dead man trigger.
There still is that one, but the other shock is getting countered.
So hope they don't forget to resolve that. Yep, that's the other game too. You have to resolve that trigger.
Yeah, that's the shock to the face one.
And yeah, now Jayan doesn't have to worry about dying every time he taps out.
Which is always exciting.
Oh, does seal require to reveal your hand too? Oh, it does. Interesting. So we did see that he has Impartisan, Kinkin, and another Suzume Ashiro in hand. What this is. Okay, so Jayan just finished his scry. Okay.
Now Dead Man resolves. If Jayan wants.
Did cftSoc mean to move that to his exile? I think so.
Yes. Probably.
Yeah, Jayan's correcting him. It's all good.
Yep.
They're both about halfway through their library at this point.
Jan can now also recur Seal the Tomb and get rid of all the reprising bards. And with the reprising bards gone, that has to make you breathe way safer.
That is
like not one. He should just wait because he wants to be able to kill a Fire Shaper Adept. But I think after this upcoming turn, like at cftSoc's end step, once Kinken is no longer an option, that's absolutely when you just remove all the reprising bards from the game, because that's how cftSoc grinds his way back into this game.
And this is the problem with Grixis colors. Once you let an opponent resolve an enchantment, you can't really do much about it.
Yep, that's definitely true.
It does have sideboard Dune Grasp, but this isn't a Dune Grasp enchantment, if that makes sense. Dune Grasp. Yeah,
it's not a. Yep.
It's not a I remove this for 1 turn and then I can go off on that turn. It's an incremental value type thing. Okay, so playing Kinken.
It's a good start.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but Jayan would need 2 ways to kill Fire Shaper here. Or wait, no, sorry, the Suzume trigger.
No.
No, the Suzume trigger is essential to the combo.
Well, no, because you can also use the monument. So you can monument out the Fire Shaper, but the Fire Shaper can't attack this turn.
Mm.
So Jayan needs 2 ways of killing it once he untaps. And getting an untap here is critical, especially because he can always use the clue.
Mm-hmm. And 5 mana, and the card flow, or the potential card flow from Villainy, plus the recursion from Deadman. It's just not a good idea to let Jayan untap right here. Does Jayan have instant speed hand attack available right now? I don't know how relevant that would be, but that could be another thing that just happens.
I mean, do you count Seal the Tomb as instant speed hand attack?
Okay, never mind.
I know he has that. He might have some other stuff, but we can't see the graveyards.
I think he played Duras and Seal the Tomb. Oh wait, we don't know what he exiled with the Xi'an.
Yes, we do. He exiled 3 lands.
Okay, swinging in with Suzume. 10 life is reasonable.
Nope, he has Duress in his graveyard. But is valuing the clue more, which kind of makes sense to me. So it looks like a Darkland's Charm. So that's, I guess, the reason not to tap off Seal the Tomb is Darkland's Charm. cftsoc can drop it in now, but that may or may not help him. I don't know. This game is so tricky to navigate. I definitely do not envy either of these players.
Yeah, just everything that you have to keep in mind at all times. And I think, especially once everything is resolved, in the sense of like, Jayan has both of his his option cards in terms of Villainy and Deadman. cftsoc has Suzume and Monument to the Fallen Man. So okay, fetch the swamp. The amount of mana that Jayan has access to here is actually just very relevant.
It's a lot of mana.
And Jayan could potentially cantrip into another Villainy here, which would just end this game, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, would it? Because, okay, here's the thing. Darkland's Charm under Reprising Bard means cftsoc can save any creature that dies. So, and has all the pieces of Exodia in play, other than the Fire Shaper. But the Fire Shaper needs to be down for a full turn. Oh no, this is complicated. cftsoc also with this matchup lol is very real.
Yeah, I think the reason I just think that this is wave DK for X equals 1. Yeah, shock right.
Up and can shock the grandma. So I think your best bet is to pick both up here.
Yeah.
Take 2.
And then just Darkland's Charm to search the top 2 cards of your library. Unless cftsoc has a good creature in grave, but I don't remember him. I think the problem is that like you said earlier, once the game goes long, it's generally in Jayan's court. cftsoc just kind of needs the combo here to win.
Yeah, it's very much cftsoc's game to lose, but that's not a very good thing.
Yeah, and having one monument out makes this much more annoying in terms of needing to be able to cast both Suzume.
Multiple critical mass spells in a single turn.
I think one monument was discarded. Drawing into another monument here would be very nice, but you also just want ways to dig more than anything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I think like you want Fire Shaper first and then other incidentals, but okay. So we don't know what that was, but that was a snap pick. cftsoc usually thinks these things through. I think the only thing that could be a
So I assume it's good. And that's the important thing, is that it's good.
Or the other cards were bad, but I doubt it. I think even a land here could be good in the sense of like giving you more options in terms of stuff you can play. But yeah, so yeah, you could assume that it would be good and not just like 2 lands and a playable. And yeah, cftsoc is did kind of drop the ball there. But to be fair, it is midnight.
Yeah, I don't even know where CFT is.
Yeah, if cftsoc is on the East Coast, then could be even worse.
Things are very bad. Pretty sure cftsoc is west, but I don't know.
For all of our sake, let's hope this ends without a game 3. Thank you very much.
That feels like a faraway hope. Yeah. I definitely think JN is incredibly favored at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I might actually have to dip out after this second game. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a midterm tomorrow, so I'd prefer to get some sleep.
Also reasonable.
Okay, so cftsoc is back to a full clutch. I remember when it was JN who had the hand advantage. Now JN's kind of all played out here.
Well, to be fair, CFT had to bounce a bunch of those guys to his hand.
Mm-hmm. And also, to be fair, JN has Deadman, which expands his virtual hand size by a lot.
Well, no, he still only has access to 2 cards worth of stuff. It's okay. Just what those things can be is significantly more.
Mm-hmm. And the good old, when you can't play anything else, cantrip. And
interesting.
I mean, obviously it has monument. I think okay. So this signals unraveling plus monument flash. But what could cftsoc hope to counter? Is my question. Because countering stuff doesn't actually like the main thing they have to worry about here is like villainy triggers, right?
Yes.
Is cftsoc trying to bait? I guess cftsoc may have been trying to bait JN into cracking the clue, which is what JN thought, because JN didn't crack the clue.
Yeah, the last time JN cracked a clue, he was for it, so I assume he's being extra careful about that.
Wait, cftsoc doesn't even have unraveling mana. What am I talking about? So what could this be? Could it be Rogars? We haven't seen a single Rogars from cftsoc before, though.
Not yet. It could also just be hold up mana. Like, okay, let's see. What are cftsoc spells?
At instant speed, Darklands Charm, and that's it.
Huh.
No, wait, actually, he doesn't even have access to that because he doesn't have any. Oh, no, he has 1 blue up. So yeah, Darklands.
Yeah, I have no idea because I would have guessed holding up counter magic to back up his monument and trying to untap with the monument, like tap out Fire Shaper, untap Suzume, swing, kill. Mm-hmm. But that's not what's happening.
And I wonder. No, again, having villainy on board is another clock / and like villainy plus Strike Bearer is a reason to not do a bluff here, because he did just play that Desert Shock this turn. cftsoc is thinking, so we know he's just trying to decide whether to flash in something with Monument. Paying 1 life.
What's the... Oh no, that was from the taking a hit from a construct.
I guess he was deciding whether or not to flash in a blocker there.
So, okay, if you're just nobody here, do you try to, like, play a bunch more spells? Do you apply more pressure? If that's another villainy. Okay. No, okay, discarding Memento Mori, casting... What's a black spell in his yard? Yep. Gonna recur a creature.
Oh, that's very powerful. Oh, that's very powerful. Oh, that's...
Yeah, I think you have to do something right now, especially because once Selene is in play, just nobody has a bunch of extra free counter magic.
Yeah, I mean, I guess fortunately Monument is just like laughs in counter magic's general direction.
Yeah, that's true. But the negates that cftsoc presumably has don't.
And it's so funny because like creatures would normally cost 1 more, but then JN is stuck in.
He'll have to. Yeah, wait, hold on. That's a good point.
I paid. Does it work like that? I guess it doesn't say convert. Oh, it doesn't say converted mana cost. It just says mana cost. Is that how it works? Oh, they cost 1 more to cast.
Interesting.
Okay, so that does make what I was saying earlier valid. That Monument usually makes it so that you have to pay more for your creatures, but Deadman sidesteps that. And then Selene, which is by Deadman, usually it's like can't play your spells. But then Monument is like, haha. Also,
a couple of layers to this.
You're tapping 3 for what? Did cftsoc count as mana wrong? Oh god, please tell me he didn't count as mana wrong. He's saying, oh, it's a reflexive trigger. What is he hoping to tap out for there? I'm so confused. Dune Grasp? Dune Grasp is instant, but... Would reflexive trigger mean that it happens even if it's bounced? Was that what... I'm confused as to what cftsoc is talking about here. Can you shed some light on this, Pip? So I see you're typing, Pip.
Yeah, I'm typing a bit, and I'm gonna also quickly Wendy.
I'm not quite sure what the issue here is, so once you're done typing to Wendy, could you come back and explain for the good people and also me that I'm a good person?
Yes. Wendy hasn't responded to my aunt message, so we'll see. We'll see. But the couple of questions here are, can just nobody, after the ability resolves, choose to not spend the mana to get the token? Because it's typical that abilities can never force you to pay a card to pay mana. So exile to a creature card and pay its mana cost if you do. So then there's this question of, can you choose not to? If you don't, the creature's still going to be exiled. But, yeah. Let's do... man.
Man, has a GP final ever happened this late? I'm just asking, because if not, then it would be cruel irony for the most, for the GP, which I think, out of recent memory for me, has the most decision complexity to take place at the latest time.
Yeah, definitely not. Suzume being dropped in thing. Because this means, well, no can still flash in. Okay, so just isn't going for the king can kill yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because JN has 3 force spikes. Oh, tapping out for Imperial Artisan, even with Monument. That's bold. I don't think Artisan has enough impact here to be worth countering.
This is bait. This is very obvious bait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bait, and it's bait that JN can't afford to. Oh, JN's taking it. You know what?
Yeah. He has cards to spare in graveyard, I guess.
Yeah, but also save it for, because Kinken without 3/4. I guess with 3/4 spikes actually, cftsoc could just pay through it. But then you can get to 4/4 spikes, and then cftsoc can't pay through it for Kinken.
I mean, there's already a king can in play.
Oh, there is. I missed that. Whoops. Okay, yeah, then at that point, yeah, Select just doesn't do much, because then you can just flash and Fire Shaper at that blow. So I guess this is bait, but it's also bait, which is, I said before it was bait that JN doesn't have to take. Now I'm just thinking it's pointless bait, and JN's like, okay, might as well, because cftsoc is never going to hard cast anything ever in this game again.
That matter.
Yeah. It's also looking unless like cftsoc's like bottom like half of the deck is stacked with Rogs. It looks like cftsoc did not bring in Rogs or Demolitions.
Definitely goes, but cftsoc has, come within spitting distance of a GP win with this deck, so I trust he knows what he's doing better than I do.
Mm-hmm. It could be that he wasn't comfortable with what happened.
That did use up all of JN's remaining force spikes. And a bunch of the options that he acts to, including, it looks like, Seal the Tomb. Discard Memento Mori, casting some 1-mana spell. Oracle Vision. There we go. Gas back up.
I guess. And then
I forgot that quitting Discord would cost my portion of the call to end. Move to cast triggers is, by the way, not legally how that works. How it works is you activate it. Well, I guess move to cast triggers is an acceptable way to do it. It's phrasing it in a very strange way. It's saying does this ability resolve?
Yeah, I guess, yeah,
Which-
that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I found that so funny. Just that entire like interaction with yourself.
Yeah, just like, this is wrong. Well, I guess it's not wrong, it's just weird. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that's me with this entire game. I'm just like,
Huh. Well, that's... That's kind of dubious, but okay.
What do you think is a dubious part of that? Sacking construct instead of
Saying
blue?
and make construct is in that pile is a little loose, because you said, here are my triggers, and you announced all your triggers clearly, and your opponent said, yes, those are your triggers, and then afterwards you were like, when to add this one. It's like, It's fine, it's late at night, neither of these players are 100% on point, and it's fine for them to be a little bit rough around the edges. I definitely think that if I was slightly more awake and if I was one of the players, I would definitely have called, like, hey, Judge, he missed his trigger, just because, like, this game is so tiresome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I don't think either of them have the energy. Even if they had the character for sharking, I don't think they have the energy for sharking at this moment.
Mm-hmm. Milling over the Rogress Frenzy. Did board it in. Now a Fire Shaper in the bin. Through the Ashen Gate in the bin. That's huge. That's very noteworthy.
So cftsoc did board in maybe not many rogs, maybe like one or two. Because I guess you don't want to. Because I guess you don't really need more than one or two rogs. You want Fire Shaper to be able to reuse them, not drawing into many of them, I guess. Oh, is that a second felony? I think cftsoc, yeah. Well, like I said, second felony just kind of closes this game out.
Yep.
And so we're moving to a game 3, I think. cftsoc is thinking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright, I'm ducking out. I hope this game goes very well. Wendy appears to still be awake if a judge is needed. I might be awake if a judge call happens. I can't promise anything. Good luck to both parties.
Yeah, same. I think I'm going to be here, but I think I'm going to probably be on minimal commentary mode. I'm just going to be here to turn off the recording once it ends. Okay, so what we did see is that cftsoc boarded in some more cards. It could just be a bluff to make Jayan think that he's going for a transformative sideboard plan into Heartburn, or cftsoc could have realized from the second game that he really needs ways to close out the game quickly. It needs lots of damage, because playing the grindy game versus JustNobody results in Jayan winning, because it gives him time to draw into a villainy, especially given the number of cantrips Jayan has. Because cftsoc had the clear advantage at the start of that game, with Jayan even being forced to play Selen out as a conditional double force spike plus cantrip rather than an engine piece. So if cftsoc had more pressure in that situation, would have potentially been able to make the win. So cftsoc starting off with a turn on Seek Prophecy. And revealing rocks, so we know that he had rocks last game, maybe decided it more. And it came Bartisan. fact that he's thinking means that cftsock's hand probably could go one of two ways, in the sense of like there's very aggressive hands with Rogs, and reprising part, while Impartisan is more of a consistent value piece, which depending on cftsock's hand composition here, I think Rogs would generally be better, but I cannot say for certain. If cftsock's hand is bad, then he would probably want to keep, or like not bad, but like clunky, or like having pieces of a combo, but not the full thing. Probably want to take Impartisan. But yeah, it takes Rogs instead. Jane opening up with Swamp, turn 1 Dark Bargain. Oh, turn 1 Stolen Secrets. Previous 2 games, he opened up with Dark Bargain. But cftsock had unfortunately previously named, or like revealed his hand before Jane named a type. This time he waits, he's learned. And Rog's Frenzy is the only instant. And wow, yeah, Reprising, Kinkin, Monument, and Imperial Artisan. With the ability to have Rogs under that Kinkin, or sorry, under the copy of Reprising Bard that would be created. That would have been an incredibly fast clock, because that basically means that turn 3, cftsock would swing out for 7 damage and would keep attacking for that much every turn. So Jane plays a Wayfarer Shrine. He does not have access to blue. Actually, I'm lying. That Stolen Secret still gives. Actually, it's better because that sets it up for cftsock, because then cftsock can't cast or doesn't have to cast Rogs first. So that 7 damage per turn line is still available. Now cftsock has to do some more thinking. I think flash in Reprising Bard and then get Kinkin taken is the unfortunate reality. And double Stolen Secret starts. Oh no, Impartisan. Oh, so I see what's going to happen. Impartisan is going to enter, and cftsock is going to put Reprising and Kinkin on top, thereby protecting both of them, or just pretending to, and then hoping Jan would name a different type. That's a really smart play. Okay, so now Jan is going to name a type. Much more difficult than it was previously, because previously he had full hand information. Now it's like a little bit more sketchy. Still probably knows that he wants to hit creatures. So I imagine it would be name a creature. Yep, that's the most optimal choice, because creatures are the most deadly things here. And it was all a bait. Okay, kept Kinkin and double Monument plus Wayfarers. Wayfarers gets way better with Impartisan. If I'm 100% certain that cftsock isn't going to name Impartisan with Kinkin, given that he's going to draw into Reprising Bard next turn. But if he had, then that Wayfarer Shrine would have been very good with it, because it would be a fetch land with a functional Brainstorm. That's a strong play. If Jane has another hand attack spell here, like Duress, well, then the Mind Games may have been for nothing, and Jane can just grab oh no, Seal the Tomb. I guess Seal the Tomb on Rogar's Frenzy. Oh, that's an amazing response, because now all of cftsock's Rogar's Frenzies which are his main burn spell, are gone. And now the Reprising Bard that cftsoc had tucked gets shuffled away. This is an amazing back and forth, and it's only turn 2. So with this, I was saying how it's unlikely that cftsoc is going to name name Impartisan with Kinkin. But I think he probably will now, just to get those extra digs. And me and Pipsqueak's deduction last game that cftsoc had only boarded in 2 Rogars, and that's why he only ended up drawing a few of them. I was correct. That also means that he isn't hit as hard by the Seal of the Tomb, technically. Also, JN bottomed from his scry, so tells us that probably wasn't very good. JN does have double black here, so could stand to untap next turn and play Villainy, which, given that cftsoc no longer has what is effectively a 3-turn clock anymore, puts cftsoc in a far worse position. I think cftsoc should not crack this Wayfarers now. Should more likely play Kinkin, name Impartisan, attack with Impartisan, and then crack Wayfarers to shuffle away whatever bad cards exist. Now draws a card. If he draws into Reprising, though, that could change real quick. So thinking, which indicates he may have drawn into a Reprising Bard. All we know about his hand right now is that there's 2 monuments in there, and the other 2 cards we're unsure of. Oh no, cracking the fetch now? Okay, I'm not sure, I guess. Did cftsoc name something? Oh, cftsoc named Reprising Bard. I guess maybe Drew Seek Prophecy, and it's like, okay, I'm going to try to Fire Shaper Adept with Seek Prophecy. Interesting. Does have Kinkin. Will still need Suzume though. Has Monument online. Okay, fetch land for a blue source, probably the blue-black or the blue-black lands, because that just gives him access to everything in his deck. No, triple black. I am very surprised at JN not finding a dual land. Yeah, okay, JN saying, wait, wrong land. I'd assume so. Why not just get a blue source, baby? Yep, and JN gets to switch at this point because no further actions have been taken and no information has been revealed. And yeah, that's what I thought. Flooded Morass. That way he has access to triple black and still has a blue. So I think tapping out for Villainy may be the right play. I'm not certain though. Might have Mind Rip as well. Is Mind Rip double blue or double black? Let's check real quick. Mind Rip is double blue, so he doesn't have access to Mind Rip mana yet. And Jay saying, well, if you top deck Bard and Suze after, yep, and he's tapping out for Villainy. Knew it. This really puts him ahead of the game. And if you top deck Bard and Suze, after shuffling them away, you got me, he says. And cftsoc doesn't flatten at the end with Monument. Very surprising. Very, very, very surprising. Means that he's very, very much on the back foot here. Another reason that I think he should have, if his hand is bad here, probably another reason not to count on Reprising Bard. And instead name him Partisan. Oh, Unraveling. Wait, I lied. And he... Oh, freeze and draw? That means he must have another Unraveling Engrave. Yeah, this is an issue for JN, especially if cftsoc can draw into if cftsoc has one or the other of Suzume and Reprising, then yeah, this is just a pure lock, and it gets more difficult because then JN will need to have a land plus through the Ashen Gate to have a chance to get out of this, really. Okay, so while JN doesn't get to untap, oh no lands. That's a problem because with Villainy out, JN has like lots of powerful one-man interaction, and flashing in Suzume is not looking good. Because now there's two different avenues for turning on Unraveling here. If cftsoc draws a Reprising Bard, this is game over 100%. Or not 100%, but as close to 100% as it can be, essentially. Swinging out, no Reprising Bard yet. Main 2, tapping out for another Monument to the Fallen Man. Third one, third Monument to the Fallen Man. cftsoc is now thinking. This basically makes it impossible for JN to play Strikebreaker or Selene, which is 6 dead cards. As it's neither negligible, but it's not super. It's not a huge portion of the deck composition. Okay, gotta bounce Imperial Artisan. Yeah, just want to keep digging for that Reprising Bard, and could potentially find Reprising Bard this turn itself. I do think that was another reason that or I don't remember actually if this desert was off of a desert fetch or just desert. Oh, it got there, he says. Is that Reprising Bard? Yeah, and that's game. At least. I don't think JN will concede, but I think he should. Because what is JN going to do now? If JN has 1 mana plus hand attack, then it can flash it in with Monument. And JN has nothing that could stop anything on field. I think that this is a comprehensive win for cftsoc. Oh no, tapping another Monument could be greedy. Yeah, don't do that, buddy. cftsoc realized a little bit just right then that might be a bad idea. So that end step, flash, and Reprising Bard. I think it's because JN has no mana. So end step, you flash and Reprising Bard. Then you can keep creating Reprising Bard tokens. I think that was also a mistake, actually. Because I think you want to put Unraveling under the Reprising Bard token. I guess it really doesn't matter at this point, but you want to put Unraveling under the Reprising Bard token created by Kinkin. Because that's an easy way to trigger the LTB effect. Oh, Wayfarer Shrine, which is really good with Imp Artisan. So I think swings out for 7, which means JN is dead next turn. Oh no, not. Yeah, 7 damage, not 5. And I seek Prophecy to take even more. And and cftsoc can dig into another unraveling, negate, and is just so solidly composed at that point. Yeah. Without being able to untap here, what is JN's out? JN's only out is land through the Ashen Gate, and even that doesn't save him. Because land through the Ashen Gate will put him down to 3 life, and then Suzume and Imperial Artisan can just swing out from there. Oh, and he did bring in Demolitionist Divisor. Big hurrahs right here. So bounce it. Okay. Can't do it again. Oh, LTV trigger on the... Oh, copying it with Fire Shake. Oh, this is so fancy. Oh, that's a very fancy play, isn't it? That's very fancy. See, I don't think JN can stabilize here. Oh, I could have just shocked you a third time. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him. Playing Demolitionist Divisor from hand. Can't bounce it again, dude. Oh, bounces for Prizing Bard. Unraveling doing what? Freeze. Then Divisor you want upkeep. Yeah, that's game. And cftsoc wins Grand Prix Xi'an 2-1 over JustNobody. And a grueling grand finals happening in the middle of the night. It's 12:31 a.m. right here. Yeah, so normally we do interviews after the match, but it's very late. So I don't think that'll be tenable right now. Oh, he did have Through the Ashen Gate in hand, just didn't draw a land for it. That's unfortunate. So yeah, this definitely is a GP of hard lines. Anyways, congrats to cftsoc, and see you at the next GP. Actually, next month we'll both be having a GP and the first Pro Tour. Sorry, not first, the second Pro Tour.